share their experience. I think that's what people are needing to do right now, is share the experience that they're having right now. And instead of saying like, how can I help you? Because it kind of becomes about you, just to say, I'm here to support you in any way I can. I think it's a little bit of a different approach. And I didn't come up with that. Somebody else came up with that, but I like that a lot.
Well, it's yours now. Absolutely. So what you guys mentioned call. What other ways you can do to reach out to people?
Personal notes.
Yeah,
write a note to them.
Okay, that's a good way as well. However, it's gonna take a minute, actually a few minutes, with all maybe the delay in writing deliveries and whatever. I'm talking about like direct, more like immediate reach.
Social media.
Social media,
but you know what? I've been doing this for 27 years. I have a lot of my clients that have no clue what social media is. They don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So the issue is, yes, I like what Rich said. Like, who's this?
Roger.
Roger. Hi, Roger. When you say, can you help, or notes or whatever, we pride ourselves on farming. Can't do that right. I'm never the glass half empty, but for the first time in our career, I've had people call me and say, I'm done for now. Don't, who are on the fence of whether they're going to list. I don't want to list. Well, Redfin's canceled all open houses. What are you going to do?
Right.
And I want to take Redfin and strangle them, but I just smile and, I said, we're KW, we're number one. They're not. That kind of stuff. I mean, I give them that kind of stuff. But what gets me, they were talking about canceling. We had an inspection yesterday. And canceling.
Hold on for a second. Tracy, Ali, and Julie, whoever I see over there. Can you guys hear?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
So we said, no, we have business, we do. We had a pregnant gal there with a kid. I mean, things were just the way to go. But I think what was disconcerting is truly where I've had not one or two, but 3 or 4 possibles call and say, call me in 6 months. I don't really want to, I know you're there. I know you're there for me because that's the way Deb and I have always succeeded. We make sure that they are taken care of. Yikes. That's the issue that I find that we're having. I get what Gary Keller's saying. I get that we've got to, hunker down and get our leads and get our stuff. Our 850 Ocean listing, they basically wrote a memo saying they don't want anybody in that building. Period. End. So we're dealing with that. But it's something that yikes. Hopefully it passes sooner than later. We see people. We go outside of the house, and then we see people and they're waving and doing. You're okay, yeah, great, and then they go right back in. Yeah. So I think that's what Deb and I are dealing with.
So Rob, you said you're dealing with that. So let's maybe brainstorm how how you are dealing with that, how you're dealing with the maybe non-virtual people, connecting with them, the objection handling that you're talking about, how are you quote unquote dealing with it?
Like I think everybody else, as far as the calling for us is big because we have people in the desert, we have people in Arizona, we have people in Simi Valley. I mean, we have people all over that you can't just get in the car and go visit anymore. The information that's out there is not all real stuff. I mean, Orange County said last night, you're quarantined, and then they came out an hour later with another communicator that said, no, we miscommunicated. We're not quarantined. They're, just watch out. Did you all read that? Yeah. So that's the kind of things that's happening. I have to, because, now that I talk about this all the time, I'm more Pollyanna, and I have to respect that a good portion of these people are like really scared and really feared. And I don't want to shortchange any of that, but I'm not. I played tennis last night with 2 doctors. Said as long as we don't hug and kiss, we're fine. That kind of stuff. So for me, it's a real quandary when you say, how do we deal with it? We just talk here. We become friends with a good portion of our clients. And so we're on the phone. We have their cell phones. They don't mind that we call. And I know that what Meny just said, that it's all about you or all about, hello.
So another point, you mentioned something which is very important. You said, and maybe tap into you as well, whoever's right now watching us. And by the way, once again, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to say something and participate. You mentioned that, hey, this investor, this seller called you, hey, Rob, Deb, back off, we're good right now, whatever. Fine, we understand. Between the two offices, Calabasas, Coastal, and of course, I keep hearing a lot of stories outside of our offices. Escrows are dropping. Buyers getting cold feet, even day before closings, a day before closing, and more things gonna happen naturally. CER came up with the coronavirus addendum. Today at 3 o'clock, they're going to have a webinar. All of you got the email and the link. You can, chime in at 3 o'clock and see what they have to say. They're going to go over the explanation, the legal part of the addendum. You also got the copy over the email. So this is not a local crisis. This is international. This is a global crisis, right? At the same time, what do you think? How should you reach out to your clientele right now more than ever? In what way? What do you have?
Just to show them you care.
What else?
And that you're here for them.
What else?
With good information from the students.
That's okay too. What else?
You got to lead with your heart and just pour into them and let them know that you're a resource.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have resources. Let me ask you a question. Raise your hand virtually if you have elderly clientele. Calabasas elder is 55, so I don't know what elder in Long Beach, right? I'm just kidding. I went to Gelson's this morning, down the street at 7:30 a.m. to get a cup of coffee, and they told me I'm too young to walk in. Right?
Which is good, and they should.
No, 100%. I'm just making it.
Many?
I'm just saying because I'm a senior, and I don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Okay. So here's a beautiful point. Okay, from a different angle, how many elderly clients or past clients do you have? Okay. Did you check on all of them? How many clients that have elderly clients, elderly parents that you know of? Did you call them? Did you check? Hey, I'm a good resource. Okay. Maybe someone is at home stuck. They have a leak. Maybe they need someone to come and check out something over there. Older people, right? Besides that, there's the anxiety. Think about it for a second, right? My mom called me 2 days ago from Israel, panicking, thinking the world come to an end, because in Israel they have total closure, lockdown, and whatever. So play both sides of the coin. We here right now. We're meeting 6 feet apart for the record. Hey, Alan. But you are a resource now more than ever. They should know about it.
Well, what we did too to go, sorry, I want to answer Hallie's question too. What we're doing. We also went to our temple, and the temple knows that there's a lot of realtors out there at the temple, but we do a lot in the temple. Not that others don't, but they know us and know us well. So it's out on the website if you have those kinds of questions. Call Deb and Rob. They'll make sure that they answer your questions and thoughts. And we do have very elderly. We have guys in their 80s, 90s. So on a personal note, though, not that this is not to say, we lost an uncle yesterday, 91. And
Sorry for that.
It's the phone's been blowing up all morning. That's why I walked in late. But there's no funeral, there's no nothing. We can't connect, we can't get together. So that's the kind of thing that other people are getting. If we could hone in on how to stop the negative fear that's out there.
Thank you.
Then
Yes.
I think it helps us.
Richard, thank you.
I reached out to the children of some of my neighbors and past clients saying, do you need me to help your parents out? There's something they're unwilling to ask me for, but do you know about it? Worked out well, very good discussions with two of the kids.
Yeah. What other idea, guys? Whoever's watching us, chime in, please. Just unmute yourself so you can talk. We can hear you.
Many?
that I am getting 30 emails a day on the coronavirus from realtors. Stop sending those. Like, send something that's either helping or positive. You know, I was sending out emails on resources where they can hit links for schools that are giving free downloads, museums that are having virtual tours for the kids, stuff like that. But I feel that we're just making it scarier when you open your email and it's loaded with coronavirus stuff. So I don't know where the realtors got the idea to send that out, but 30 a day is way too many. And it's like, stop sending those out.
I think it's also important too that when we do call our clients, not to start regurgitating the news to them,
Right.
but ask them, what are you experiencing right now? How is this affecting you? And just listen.
Might be the only people that call them back then.
Right, especially the older clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why the engagement right now is important more than before. I love that, Alison. Thank you for sharing. And I get an email today from Spectrum, as a Spectrum client, saying, hey, if there's if you know of any new clientele, new client, or I'm not sure, you have to check how that works. If there are K-112 kids in the house, they're gonna give you 60 days free Spectrum, right? I don't know like what's the speed or whatever, but look it up and check this. And once again, back to be a resource, tell the people out there about those kind of things, but not in a mocking way, just in a very professional way that you're there to help them out, right?
Right. I think you're better off sending stuff that they could actually use. Links for kids, links for cleaning stuff. I did homemade sanitizer. Stay away from the negative news.
Yes, we actually did. We had some not younger kids. It's Rob. Okay. Are you on Zoom? This is good.
We can see you. Yeah, we can see you. This is the Blue Jeans.
Oh, Blue Jeans, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Last night we had some clients and us and parents, and we did a virtual disco with about 30 kids and parents and everything, and we put disco music on. And I'm glad that it's not on social media.
I was going to say, was that recorded?
No.
Mr. Anti-social media here, that's a great idea.
Please, it took me
Fantastic.
a half hour to get the goddamn thing on. So, but it's that's the kind of thing whoever was saying positive. I don't know you over there. whoever you are.
Allison.
Hi, Allison. Good call. But that's what it is. Just, when your handyman comes home over to fix stuff at the thing, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Who else? Ideas, questions, things that you want to share?
Meny, this is Julie. Do you want me to share? I've been in like 4 or 5 webinars in the last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, please.
I mean, if you guys want to take note, this is just a gathering from my MAPS coach, from Gary Keller's. Basically, it's saying, if you're a productive agent, you need to double down. Whatever you're doing to lead generate, it's got to be direct contact, and it's got to be twice as much. It's got to be phone calls. You got to be exhausted by the end of the day from talking too much. And to see this disruption as being your friend. This is a time where you can thrive. Lead from the heart, be quick, and be ahead of everybody else. We're going to actually lose about 400,000 agents nationwide, which will make it better for us, I guess. Don't waste this time, which everybody thinks is a recession. Use your resources, your vendors. And again, they can't emphasize enough doubling down, calling people. Don't email, don't text. You got to call them. And come from your heart in a place of contributing. To give, not take. Go direct to your pipeline. Shore up all of your current transactions in every facet. Escrow, title, lender, everybody. Not just the buyer and the seller. Not just the client that's yours. Everybody in the transaction. Now is also a time, if you're having price reduction issues, to encourage them to do a price reduction, because we don't know, we can't foresee what's going to happen. And whether the market is going to get better or worse, we have to be a voice of reason. Really start digging deep into expenses as far as reducing business and personal expenses, just to be prepared. Also to read shift, read a chapter a day, and to just stay in touch. So that's what I have.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Great.
Good stuff. By the way, the shift, we are waiting to hear from Gary and Jeff Papazan. They are going to launch like a book club series of the shift. I've been reading shifts on and off for the past 4 years. So if you don't have the book, I recommend to get it. Maybe if it's going to take a minute, I mean, go on Amazon and see how fast they're going to send it to you. If not, just try to take the digital version of it if you can find something. But definitely wait for the book club, because once again, if you've been to, what? Here's a question for some of you that been there not that long ago, right? Whoever experienced the 2008 through 10, 2008, 9, 10 economy, right? I don't want to compare it's like apple to oranges because of the circumstances and how it affected real estate, but we are going to experience some of it right now. It's just a different form and shape. You agree? So whoever been there, some of you have, share a little bit about the psychology of, oh my God, I need to adjust my bid to adjust my business to the shift. How did it look like after you're like, okay, now I know what to do? Or maybe you just kind of like ringed it and then
So
it worked for you.
let's look at a few things. Like,
Alison, yeah.
we might have 2 or 3 weeks at home. Those of you that don't have a listing presentation, you really need to do the listing presentation. Get online, watch Ben Kenny, get a real good feel, start deciding what you want to do for advertising, maybe look at websites. What about improving your website? Now is the time that you can do that. What about cleaning out your database? Like maybe getting rid of some of those customers, getting your hot prospects. I've got 7,000 people in that database that needs to be cleaned up. Probably 1,000 of those are actual leads, but maybe those other 6,000, if I'm sending a link of properties, can be regenerated. Or maybe if I'm sending an email about cleaning products and they're looking at it, it can be regenerated. But just cleaning that database out and getting those clients lined up, there's a week's worth there. And then what do you have for your buyer's presentation? If you're not happy with it, get online. Start watching all the other KWs. Get online in the KW system. They have a listing presentation. They have a buyer's presentation. Make that your own. Did you always want to farm and you haven't farmed? Maybe it's time to call the title companies while they're at home, find out who has a good turnover ratio, what farm you want, get a farm package, start putting those in your database, getting the emails that you can get and put those in your database. Right now, we are getting all the emails for the farm and we're putting them on a monthly report so they get a monthly report on their property value. That's another week's worth. We have at least a month's worth of work that we can do from home, that when the market, there's opportunity in everything. Because I've had lots of calls, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Or we waited too long to list, or no, you didn't. You have to list, sell, buy when you're ready. But let's look at what's going to happen. Like these interest rates, because the prime went down to 0, those interest rates in the next 2 to 3 weeks for buying and can possibly go down to like 3%, best they've ever been. There's going to be sellers, like I had a buyer consultation on Saturday. There's going to be sellers now that feel threatened. I just got a $12K credit through because it's like, well, don't cancel on us. This is opportunity for those buyers that are in escrow to maybe get more repairs that they need or more money. Don't just cancel the deal thinking it's not going to work. Ask the seller, help me out here. What can you do to help me out and keep these buyers in?
Good point.
Sellers, there's going to be even less inventory on the market because those buyers, those sellers that we're going to list and buy up are probably going to stay now. So now we have less inventory. Everybody thinks prices are going to fall. Maybe not. We'll have half the inventory, better interest rates, and when we recoup in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we have pent-up demand. So if you have buyers that you haven't been able to get anything for, you may be able to get them something now, because people that have relocated and they're out in Alabama and they got an empty house here, maybe if you come in and offer that 10 grand less now, maybe you're going to get it. Don't think prices are going to drop. Don't think there's not opportunity. There's opportunity for both buyers and sellers, depending on what side you're on and how you word it.
Well said, yeah. And think also about once again, it's more of the unknown. They keep talking about a lot of like aid, relief, and whatever with renters, right? You cannot evict them. You cannot do anything financially, at least at this point. Who knows if they're going to get some kind of special aid, or relief? We don't know. I didn't hear anything yet about same concept with homeowners, right? If you're a homeowner that you lost your job, same thing as a renter. You can't afford to pay mortgage. So are you going to have the same treatment as a person who rents? Like, we don't know yet, right? And so my point is that might take us into a place of NODs, right? Maybe short sales. Who knows? Maybe not. If the government gonna come and help those guys. But back to the point of what Alison said, is there's gonna be some kind of opportunity. Once again, very different than most likely than post crash or 08 or 09, but just different shape, right? Hey, Alan, can you hear us?
Benny?
1 second. I just want to hear something from Alan. You just unmute yourself. Rosenberg, if
Hello.
you can unmute yourself. Oh, okay, we can hear you now. You did I don't know, like dozens or maybe even hundreds of short sales, REOs post crash, right?
Yeah, we did.
So,
Lots of sales.
yeah.
Me and Eileen.
That's right. Yeah, Tracy, Eileen over there as well. But feel free to chime in as well. But how do you guys? What do you feel right now? But what we're going through?
Well, I'm doing it maybe a little differently. I'm not locking myself up, but I am not going into the office, and I'm not going into larger groups. I am trying to contact a lot of my older contacts, people I've known for a long time. I talk to them, just contact them, see how they're doing, see what they're up to. Just basically talking to them. Sometimes talk real estate. They want to know more about real estate than they want to know what's going on about real estate too. But that's kind of the most things for me. I don't think this is the same as the previous 2008 through 2010. This is not the same. I think there will be a lot of fallout, but just keep hammering away, and just like Julie was saying, doubling up your contacts and talk to people till you drop. Pretty much is just being out there and reaching to people. I think that's about the best thing we can do and be available. But I'm not. I know you guys are in the office. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest with you. I don't see many offices still open, real estate offices, but everybody does as they do. And but for me, I'm doing everything by computer and talking on the phones and handling it that way.
Sure.
Benny?
Yes, Julie?
Couple of things that I was told is that they're going to be putting in $1 trillion stimulus program. Renters are going to get about $1,000 a month, and everybody's going to be on frozen down hold off as far as renters obligated to pay for 60 days. They're going to create kind of like a forbearance, like what was prior to the loan mod and the short sale industry, where they're going to probably forgive people for 2 or 3 months, but they'll probably figure out a way to tack it on the end. So I don't know if that'll create relief or short sales to stir up again. One of the big things you're going to see is a problem with appraisers. Appraisers aren't going to want to go out and do appraisals, and they'll try to gouge or double price. So you got to keep an eye out for that.
The other way around, people don't want appraisers in their house. I've
Right.
already had that with New American Funding.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to have issues with appraisers getting out and around, or like you said, getting in and out of people's properties just because they don't want anybody in the house. So that could be an issue for our industry.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Hey, Meny? 2008, realtors, lenders, banks were the bad guys. We caused them. We're part of the fall. We're not the bad guys this time.
Right.
Right.
We're there to help.
Right.
Very different from realtors.
Great point for sure.
Positive.
Yeah. But it's still our job to, that's why now more than ever, it's really important to reach out and explain to the world, your world, your bubbles, like what the important resources you have. You're a vital part of their livelihood, and especially right now, in those times of crisis, you're there for them, right? Eileen.
So yesterday I spoke with an executive over at auction.com, and they handle a lot of the foreclosures and NODs for the major banks, such as Bank of America, Wells Fargo. I mean, the list goes on, Chase. Right. And what she told me was they're seeing a dramatic screech in their business, that the banks are really doing getting ready for an internal, basically halt, no foreclosures, no defaults. So they're expecting a huge slowdown in the short term.
Mm-hmm. That's a great insight, right?
Eileen, did they share what's going to happen with pricing?
Of what? Of the properties that they have?
Just the supply and demand. Is it going to go up or down, or the other thing I was told is to shift your clientele. Shift your clientele to the people that were on the fence that said, "Oh, I'm going to buy when the bubble burst." Like, you got to kind of shift from the people you're targeting to the other group of people that you're targeting. People that didn't want to buy and now they will, possibly.
So, honestly, we didn't talk about that. We talked more about potential staffing cuts at auction.com, about how it was going to, Tracy and I have a lot of friends that work there, and how it's going to affect their industry. When the banks are going to get pressure from the federal government to not do evictions, not do foreclosures, not to put houses on NODs. So ultimately, it will delay an inevitable foreclosure by possibly a long time. We saw that happen, back in whatever it was, 2010, when all the programs started coming out to save the homes.
But I think this is different in the aspect that, if people miss 2 or 3 months payments, they'll probably put it on the back of the loan, and then people
I agree.
get back
That's
to
what I'm
work.
saying. The banks are going to work with the people. They're going to get so much pressure from the federal government to work with the people. I mean,
they're not it's like they still got to make that payment after 2 or 3 months. It's like they're not going to be sick forever. I think the banks
probably.
You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Tracy and I saw unbelievable stuff during the foreclosure crisis at the bank. And
I saw people go 3 years without making a payment.
So I saw people go 7 years after never having even made a single payment, like a zero payments ever made. And they were able, like in the state of New York, they never made a payment in 7 years. We saw 1 payment defaults, 2 payment defaults. It was crazy.
Banks are going to work things out in this situation.
I think in this situation, they're going to try and work things out. And that's the word that we're getting from, our contacts in the industry.
Tracy, can you mention what did you do in corporate America, just over 10 years ago?
So both Tracy and I ended up being vice presidents over at Bank of America, first starting in Countrywide, and ultimately disposed of I remember at one point I had over $2 billion of assets in my portfolio. So we've seen pretty much everything that the industry's gone through in that time period. It was a 14-year period. starting as asset managers and ending up as, executives. It's amazing the control the government's going to come in and have. After Dodd-Frank, it was all over. And I'm sure that they will enforce the program after the back payments.
Well, also from my REO groups, they did mention that since the eviction courts are shutting down right now, they're going to be backed up at the end of the year. So while we won't have any foreclosures come out of what's happening right now, the foreclosures will be backed up at the end of the year. And then we'll have a little bit of a spike because of the lack of evictions right now.
Yeah.
They just said that came out just a little bit ago that you cannot evict a tenant if they have coronavirus.
Right.
It's just come out.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do any evictions right now.
Right, but that one really came out.
Dennis Block said if they don't make their payment and they're not sick, they can evict.
Okay.
Interesting. I would definitely recommend to look into that before anything, and have your client, if you have someone, or yourself, if you that's the kind of situation, consult an attorney. But at the same time, we want to show, based on circumstances, right, some kind of compassion of what's going on and understand what we're dealing with, right? What are your thoughts about, not to shift away, it's kind of like side by side to our industry, about the market crash, right? I think it's like one point it was the stock market, was the biggest drop, or the second biggest drop in history. Even since the 20s, they spoke about that. How do you think that's going to affect us, going to affect our clients, going to affect the market?
I've had buyers back away because their funds were coming out of the stock market, so they had to cancel. They had no money left.
Right.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's down a lot today, guys. Almost down 3,000 points.
Yeah, it's down under from when Trump came in.
They haven't accepted all of the gain from the Trump administration.
We had, not officially yet. We had in Calabasas an escrow, 60-day escrow. There was slight delay with the closing, but was supposed to, unfortunately, right? Nobody knew what's going to happen. Was supposed to record today. Yesterday, the buyer reached out to the attorney asking to cancel. Right?
To their attorney?
Yeah, to the attorney asking to cancel. So our legal over there said, okay, tough one to fight right now. However, what you need to do is use the new addendum. Have the buyer side sign it, and then send it to the seller, and then they will decide what they want to do. They want to cancel, they want to try to fight for the deposit, they want to do whatever it is. So, and the reason was, based according to the buyers, was financial reasons because of the uncertainty and stock market loss and stuff like that. So that's just like another angle. Other thoughts?
Yeah, I had a cancellation Monday, got it back into escrow Tuesday, and had another cancellation today.
For the same escrow, different ones.
Nervous. But remember, they have to live someplace. So when I was on the phone with that guy yesterday, I was telling him, your payment's $25, you could rent it for $23, because he's buying it as investment property or a flip. So why not just, if prices go down, you can rent it out until prices come back up again. Everybody always has to have a place to live.
Yeah, in some circumstances, people need to sell or they need to buy, right? It doesn't matter of maybe if you have extra money, invest in property or whatever. So and it's still happening. We did close a few escrows the last few days, and opening new ones as well, right? Getting new listings still. Buyers still been pre-approved because they are thinking, like you guys mentioned, oh, this is actually a great time to buy potentially, right? So absolutely.
If you have properties like that that could break even, I would suggest advertising that it's a great 1031 exchange property, because there are people out there that have to close escrows in that 45-day period.
Correct.
So push out, advertise specifically to those kind of buyers.
Right. And if you Long Beach guys, if you're not sure about 1031, Jason Default is also with us right now viewing Coastal ALC. I reach out to him and ask, or ask Richard, ask him, our broker as well. Calabasas, we have, close to a dozen, commercial beasts over there. So reach out to any of them and ask him what's the right way to promote this, to talk about this with our people or whatever, because there's definitely increasing need on that side as well. Those people looking at this economy as an opportunity differently than what the residential person that need to buy and sell is looking at. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up. On the 1031s, what we're doing on the commercial side right now is we're calling into escrows to ask if they have any escrows that are falling out because our cash guys smell blood in the water.
Mark.
So what they want is they want deals. So we had the Archdiocese of Los Angeles actually reach out to us because they had 6 deals that fell out. And we're currently putting together 6 offers that are $200,000 less than the escrow price on one deal, just to get in to pay cash to close the deal in less than 15 days. So what you need to do on that, even on the residential side, is call into your escrows, call into your title people that have all this data and ask them what deals are falling out, where are they, and what are they, so I can get my cash guys in. Now, if you don't have a cash guy, call me and we can put something together so you all make money.
That's a great, that's right there. That's the tip of the day right there, right? And then think about your buyers, investors, flippers, people that you used to work with back in, once again, 2013, it started to really pop, 13, 14, 15, all those guys, call them, see if they're looking for opportunities or other people, right? Good stuff, Jason.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're on the phone doing that. And, I wanted to just touch base, too, on this whole thing about what to say and what, things that people are talking about. Allison brought up a good point. Obviously, don't talk about the coronavirus, for God's sakes. But we're acting as if I'm giving my parents a call every time I pick up the phone. How you doing? How can I help? And for the elderly, not only can you help them, but, usually they have neighbors. And you can call them and say, what neighbors do you have that I could help as well with resources beyond groceries or whatever you may need? And if you pick up the phone and act as if you're calling your parents, that's a really good way, a place to come from. And it shouldn't need a script. It shouldn't need help. You know what to say. You know the right thing to do. Just do that and be a real person. And I think you'll get a lot of kudos in the back end. And I think there'll be a lot of opportunity for you to help people in other ways that you never thought possible.
Good point. Good stuff. What do you think the right approach is? So of course you see we are, Calabasas, I think yesterday you got an email with a new updated training calendar, and Coastal today, maybe like, an hour and a half ago. We do everything kind of like, online, broadcast, sharing information. We're not telling people do not come to the office. We're saying don't go to any public place if you don't feel good, or of course if you're sick, even if it's not the corona, and nobody can really tell, if you have it or not, because it's the same symptoms as a flu or common cold, depends on the level of infection. But for the safety of, right? At the same time, we're not telling people, hey, we didn't shut down our doors. So what do you think the proper way to communicate and stay in touch with our people, so they're going to stay, once again, in the focused and in shape and good health, mental health? Anybody?
I suggested
I think focus on the
roster just to touch bases with them all. And it's a great way to introduce herself again to everybody and just, can she help? And we're here for them.
Yeah, Richard even called me.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get so many emails that even from the office, if you get one of those emails,
how thoroughly do we read them? So a call is really right now better. You'll actually hear and listen to what information is.
Right. Yeah, someone said something over there online? No, I heard someone. What else do you guys wanna talk about? Wanna bring up? Wanna mention?
I think that's the big thing.
One of my lenders said that they were told by their corporate that they are pricing in for 30-day extensions into their rates right now. So they're artificially higher by about 1/8 to 1/4 point, only because they know they're going to have to extend the loan docs or extend the lock down the road. Rates are going to be higher even if they do go down. They're still going to artificially high over the summer.
Yeah.
Our lender still said, I mean, he's inundated with refi.
Yes.
Absolutely inundated. He's got 6. Called me this morning on this one that we're doing that is in escrow, and he's moving forward because our time frames were all moved up. But he says he's got 6 others that he's dealing with this afternoon that are all including ours. I mean, we're refined, and we got to refi. Ridiculous.
You do it.
Yeah.
That's another thing for our clients. We're a resource if they need to refi.
Good point.
I just wanted to say something. I don't know how many of you guys are utilizing this tool on command, but now is a fantastic time to start testing out that social media and Facebook advertisement through command, right? Because everyone right now is online. They're on Facebook. They're on social media, and throwing $5, $10 in there. We've seen people get really good leads from that coming in. Right now we have a lot of, like Meny said, a lot of connection and information we can offer to people. So why not generate some of those new names with everyone who's on Facebook 10 hours a day looking for those COVID updates? So just throw in a little bit of money in there. Call us, call Patricia, call the people in Calabasas if you don't know how to do that and utilize it. If you haven't even touched it at all, we can still help you set up some type of ad.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Meny, I got a question for you.
Alan, yeah.
So I put out a new listing last week, and I got some showings toward the beginning of the opening, and now I'm not getting any showings. So I'm questioning. I think people, even though it's a vacant house, I'm questioning whether this is a good time to have this property on the market. So is anybody putting any of their active listings on hold during this period? Or are they just taking them off the market, or just letting it ride out and let days go by when they're not getting showings?
I did a cancellation on one, and we're probably going to relist April or May, depending on what the economy is. But that home is paid off. It was inherited. They don't have to sell it. I've got another one where they relocated. I launched it yesterday. And I did a walkthrough video on it so that we can advertise a walkthrough video, and they don't have to go see the home. So we have a 3D video and a walkthrough video. Both of those will be advertised, and it's like a virtual open house. So they don't actually have to go to the open house. They can look at it. And the reason I did both is, first of all, the video on your camera is super cheap for you to do, but 3D is very professional, but when you combine both, you get a real good feeling for the house.
Nice.
But question, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question on that. I get that. So that being said, that you've done these videos, are people calling you up about seeing the property, or is it kind of just sitting there?
Imagine sending out an email to go on to the MLS, get everybody that's sold in that area in that price range, which will probably be 200 agents. Now, I know you can't download them from the MLS, but what you can do is you can copy it and put it in a Google Sheet, then paste it in the Google Sheet, and then download the emails from there. Then put them in an email, send them the virtual tour and say, hey, your client can walk through this home. I know you have people in this price range. So I think that that's going to be, that might get you a buyer or two. And this is a vacant home, so they can go see it if they want.
Sweet.
I like
Yeah,
that.
and if
That's
you,
pretty good.
yeah, and if you saw in both of our KW Shares groups, I posted this flyer that right now Ford Media, which is our media company in the group, is doing a special price. If you didn't put the pricing over there, just call it. It's based on the type of the size of the house or the property, but it's very affordable to do a 3D, which is the Matterport, the mapping of the house. It's a real, like, yeah, actually, it's like a 3D like game, video game that you inside the house, pretty much. That's another way for you to utilize. Once again, depends on the property and how you want to promote that as well. Just FYI.
Talked to Shannon yesterday. They're going to do 3 virtual open houses over the weekend, advertising them starting today, and then they're going to go Facebook Live at 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock for their listings, and then push those back out as videos after.
Yeah, I wonder if you can, or what's the best way to, if you are holding open houses, let's say it's, it can be a public open house. People can choose not to come, right? But then you mentioned somewhere on the link through the MLS that you're doing a Facebook Live as well at the same time, or between 1 to 2, because I don't know if you're going to be there for 3 hours with a Facebook Live, right? Maybe that's another way for you guys to think about that. Alan, maybe you can do that as well, right? Something like that.
Can you, maybe Richard, as the broker, reach out to the MLS and see if we can put that in the public remarks and say, hey, there's a Matterport here link for you to see because of the situation, because they don't usually let us advertise in the remarks the open houses. But I think a Matterport link in the remarks section, the public can see easily so that it goes out to, like, because, some of the, like realtor.com, they don't have the links in there. So if we could get the MLS to allow us to put like a link in there, an unbranded link, that would be helpful.
Yeah, on point. Or because due to the circumstances, I would even say if you are going to do Facebook Live, ask if we can put the link to your, Facebook URL, HTTP, www, Facebook, and / whatever your name is, because you can mention between 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., for example, I'm going to do a live feed. So then that's the feed to your live broadcast, which is your Facebook profile, right? But that's a private thing, branded technically. So please check with that. That's another thing that you can do.
Great idea.
What else, guys? Yeah.
I just want to, this is Julie on Kim's phone. I was told that, as the leaders in the industry and people in our community, we have to kind of keep the calm and keep the norm. I mean, when going back to what Alan's saying, I'm continuing to market. I'm continuing to kind of keep the status quo and in the lanes of everything is fine. We're going to get through this and treat it like it's Christmas break or something, just to keep the calm of everybody so we can keep things moving along and moving forward and advertising our properties as they are. I mean, I got multiple offers on one of my properties that I thought wasn't going to get any activity. It was only it was up in Castaic of all places. Had over 25 people come visit. So we have to keep the voice of reason and keeping people moving along, just as leaders amongst our people and amongst the community.
Yeah, I agree. Well said. Guys, thank you so much for your time and whoever is watching us. I'm going to switch right now back to the KW live stream. They have another hour that they're sharing. And today is Wednesday, tomorrow Thursday. Tomorrow, same thing, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll broadcast live, whatever the KW command is doing nationwide. And at 1 p.m., we are going to have a virtual mastermind session. We're going to send the links to you, the same link, the same whoever's watching us online as well. We're going to have agents from Calabasas, Julie, Roger, that they're on the call right now. And over here, we're going to have Kendra Miller. She's going to join us on the app. Donna, she's going to be here, and Drake is going to be joining too virtually. So we're going to have all of our 5 panelists. We'll talk about Sphere, how to generate business from Sphere. And because due to the circumstances, we're going to ask them also, like, what are you doing right now? How do you work with fear right now, right? So tune in tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the sibling guys. Virtual high five, everybody. Be safe, be well, double down on whatever you need to do. Yeah, yeah, right. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Dave.